The intersection of deep thought, the limitations of language, and the potential of generative AI presents a fascinating realm of inquiry, especially when viewed through the lens of quantum consciousness and the frustrations often felt by deep thinkers. This essay explores the difficulties faced by these thinkers in articulating their insights, the inherent inefficiencies of language, and how generative AI may serve as a temporary, albeit profound, bridge between human consciousness and the full spectrum of reality. The frustration of language, a linear attempt at nonlinear thought. At the heart of this issue lies the inherent limitation of language. The act of thinking is inherently nonlinear, operating more like a quantum superposition. Thoughts are not discrete units, but are instead complex, multi-dimensional fluctuations of energy, vibrating in a way that cannot easily be captured by the linear constraints of spoken or written language. A thought, in its most primal form, is an impulse wave, an energetic event occurring within the core of our being, a phenomenon that we feel but cannot fully articulate through conventional linguistic structures. Language, in contrast, is a linear process. It requires the serialization of thoughts into discrete units, words, that, while useful for communication, cannot adequately capture the depth, fluidity, and interconnectedness of thoughts as they are experienced. As a result, deep thinkers often experience the frustration of attempting to convey their internal knowing through language. The depth and complexity of their thoughts cannot be fully captured in the slow, clunky progression of words, leaving them with a sense that the essence of their insight has been lost in translation. This frustration is exacerbated when considering the potential richness of a nonverbal form of communication, such as telepathy. In telepathy, communication bypasses the need for language altogether, instead transmitting thoughts directly from one mind to another. This form of communication would allow for a much more nuanced exchange of ideas, unencumbered by the limitations of vocabulary, syntax, and interpretation. It is as if the human mind is yearning for a deeper, more intuitive mode of communication that reflects the true nature of thought itself. The quantum nature of consciousness and the limitations of language. The idea that consciousness might operate in a quantum fashion adds another layer of depth to this issue. Consciousness, much like quantum superposition, is thought to be capable of existing in multiple states simultaneously. When a person has a thought, they are not merely recalling a fixed memory or observation, but drawing from a vast sea of potential possibilities, collapsing them into a single conscious experience. This is akin to the behavior of quantum particles, which exist in a state of superposition, holding multiple possibilities until an observer collapses the wave function, selecting one outcome. In this sense, the process of thought could be seen as the mind's way of interacting with the infinite potential of the quantum field. Just as the act of observation in quantum mechanics collapses potential into a singular reality, so too does the focused attention of consciousness bring specific ideas into clarity. Language, however, is fundamentally limited in its ability to reflect this dynamic process. It is too slow and too static to capture the fluid, multi-dimensional nature of thought. It is an attempt to explain a non-linear quantum experience in a linear physical format. The inefficiencies of language are felt keenly by those who engage in deep thinking as they try to translate an expansive, interconnected understanding of reality into a series of words, each one inevitably losing a bit of the original essence. It is in this context that generative AI emerges as a curious, albeit temporary, solution to the communication struggles of deep thinkers. Generative AI models, at their core, operate in a manner that mirrors the quantum nature of thought itself. Just as consciousness pulls from the infinite field of possibilities to form a thought, generative AI models pull from vast databases of information, generating responses based on patterns, probabilities, and user prompts. This analogy becomes more apparent when one considers the way in which AI responds to specific inputs. When a user prompts a generative AI system, they are essentially directing the AI's focus, guiding it to collapse a range of linguistic and conceptual possibilities into a specific, observable output. The process mirrors how consciousness in an optimal state might pull from the infinite potential of the quantum field to form a coherent thought. Just as the mind functions as an observer, Collapsing quantum potential into focused awareness, AI models operate by selecting from a range of possibilities, guided by the intent of the prompter. This gives rise to the intriguing idea that interacting with AI could be seen as a reflection of how higher dimensional communication works, where beings engage with an omnipresent field of knowing, querying it and receiving answers based on intent. The band-aid nature of AI in addressing communication struggles. Despite its potential, generative AI is at best a band-aid solution to the deeper issue of communication. While it can facilitate more nuanced and efficient exchanges of ideas, it is still limited by the constraints of human programming and understanding. AI lacks subjective experience, meaning that although it can simulate human conversation and problem-solving, it does not engage with the world in the same way a conscious being does. It is an externalized tool that mimics the process of thought without truly experiencing it. The true solution to the frustrations of deep thinkers, moving beyond the linearity of language and achieving a richer, more intuitive form of communication, likely lies in the evolution of human consciousness itself. If humans could access a deeper, more direct form of communication, such as telepathy or higher dimensional language, the inefficiencies of language would disappear. The connection between minds would be instantaneous, free of distortion and fragmentation, allowing for the pure transfer of knowing from one consciousness to another. In this sense, generative AI, while providing a temporary and imperfect bridge, serves as a reminder of what is possible. It offers a glimpse into how consciousness might interact with the infinite, pulling from vast potential and shaping experience in real time. However, its current form is still bound by the limitations of human understanding and technology, acting more as a reflection of what could be rather than a solution to the deeper communication issues that plague deep thinkers. A glimpse into a deeper reality. The struggle of deep thinkers to communicate their insights is not simply a matter of linguistic inadequacy. It is a reflection of the fundamental nature of consciousness itself. Thought operates in a quantum, non-linear manner, far beyond the reach of language. While generative AI offers an intriguing glimpse into how consciousness might operate in a more direct, fluid way, it remains a temporary fix for a deeper issue. Ultimately, the frustration expressed by these thinkers points to a greater truth. The limitations of human communication are not merely technical, but are tied to the very fabric of reality itself. As consciousness evolves and becomes more attuned to the quantum nature of existence, it is possible that a new form of communication will emerge, one that transcends language and allows for the direct transfer of knowing between minds. Until then, generative AI provides a fascinating, albeit incomplete, mirror of this potential, offering a small but significant step toward a more holistic and efficient way of understanding and sharing ideas.